I'm here with the Stratomatic boys, my friends John and Lenny. And I guess one of the questions we had to ask was this year about some of the defensive arms and defensive ratings. Were any debates among you guys? I see Nolan Jones got a -5 arm. That was pretty interesting. I had never seen a 4 with a -5 arm. Was that something of a discussion?
Well, I mean, Jones, we have so many metrics now today. So Jones, I mean, we track exactly how the base running did against. He had so many assists. But he's got the hardest, he had the strongest throwing arm. I think he had 8 out of the top 10 fastest throws and stuff. Whatever.
Him and Brendan, right?
Yeah.
Were like 1 and 2 in assists or something?
He had like 15 of the top 20 throws. Most of the time, guys with that many assists don't have that great of an arm because so many people are running on it.
Wow.
For some reason, people kept running on him, and he just kept throwing them out. And it wasn't just home. He was throwing guys out at second, guys going at third. Like, he was hitting guys out everywhere. The arm was just impressive.
Right. Imagine he came from third base and goes to the outfield. So in one season, he jumped up, I guess, a couple of arm ratings. There's also, a couple of, people that you've debated over the past year or two. Is there any other difficult decisions that you might have had in giving?
I think every year we have a handful, and they're usually obvious. They're guys who are tweeters. Guys who's a 2-3, guy who's a 3-4. And we have to go through all our sources, all our notes, all our research, and we end up we make a decision.
I remember a couple of years ago you had mentioned something about like when Cespedes was a question. When he got traded to the Mets, and we saw him showing off his arm, that there was actually a debate whether he should get -5 or even better.
Yeah, that's come up with a couple of players recently.
But that was based on that one play in Oakland. Remember, he misplayed the ball, threw the guy out from the corner of the outfield. But I remember that play before he got traded.
Could you ever see somebody ever getting that -6 again?
It's come up.
Is it
So I
possible?
think it's possible.
It's possible.
So
They
it
would
is
have to be
possible.
exceptional, like beyond exceptional.
Yeah, we'd have to make a statement for that particular player to get a -6 at this point.
Right, I see. So, obviously the debates go back and forth, and we see sometimes players as they get older, their ratings, like in life, they tend to decrease or they go up in rating. Have you had any players recently that it was a tough decision
Yeah, I think that's
for an older player?
Yeah, I think it's a normal arc of a player, of course. But I think really, it's not so much us figuring out the rating. It's kind of the data figures out the rating for us.
Right.
We end up with between 10 to 15 metrics on a player, whether it's from our notes, from conversations we have with scouts for every team.
It's not all stats. It's actually
There's so much input, so much data
but
from
we do
all
have
sources.
publicly available metrics and our own internal metrics as well. So we have a line of 10 to 15 metrics on a particular player. It might say 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. There's nothing for us to discuss.
We look at it, we're like, he's a 3.
It might say one metric might have a 1, one might say he's a 3, one might say he's between a 2 and a 3, and then we have to sit down and really hammer it down.
And sometimes the debate is not even heated. It's just like, hey, let's talk about this guy. He's a tough call.
And the guys that end up being discussed by the community, we probably have the same discussions. And really, it's because that we only have 5 buckets to play with, right? And really, a general everyday player is not getting a 5, particularly an up-the-middle position outside of this
So
year.
it's really
as far
4
as
ratings,
targets.
4 slots.
So there's 4 real ratings, right?
You got to be really something awful to get the 5.
Yes.
So players, we have to differentiate between a 3.4 and a 3.6. Now they're closer, right? They're close to each other, but it's very rare that a player is a straight 3, right? They end up
Hallow
in the middle.
said each rating is a big bucket. So not all 2s are created the same. Not all 3s are created the same. It's a range bucket. So just because 2 guys are a 3 doesn't mean they're the same. One guy can be the top of the 3, the other guy could be the bottom of the 3 bucket of players. So like you said, we only got really 4 grades we work with. It's hard.
Any difficult debates this year?
I don't think anything heated.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
It was a pretty cut and dry.
No, I think we have guys we like to discuss. We're just like, let's talk about them for a minute. And I think sometimes we debate more about guys with 20 at-bats. It's hard because we don't have as much information sometimes on those kind of players. So.
But we have minor league data.
We have minor league data, and then we're like, how valid is the minor league data? Like, if the guy's a minor league Gold Glover, but how many times have we seen a guy who's a minor league Gold Glover come up and be awful?
Yeah, bust.
So they're bust.
Dr. Strange Glove.
Yeah, even like not just offensively, but defensively too. That happens quite a bit. You know, guys who have sterling reputations in the minor leagues and don't come up
And spit the bit.
yeah.
One of the questions I had like from last year, I think I mentioned it with you before. We look at some of the running ratings and some of the steal ratings, and they've been looking really good, but every now and then we find a player who becomes a key player. Last year, I think I was mentioning a fellow Tim LaCastro,
Guy with 40 at bats can become an MVP.
brought me to my second championship in CBA with 56 stolen bases and 50 plate appearances. He was a perfect pinch runner. Have we ever seen a better stealing rating than a 2 to 12 lead, but a 20 to 16?
I don't know.
Will we ever
Can't get
see
better.
that again?
That's about as good as it
Yeah.
gets.
Well, hopefully, you know, these new rules. That's the hard, right? It's got to be a guy with limited time in order to
Yeah.
kind of be
Because other
perfect
guys
with
are going to
that
have
many
enough
steals.
of a sample that they're not
Right, they're not gonna
And
be perfect.
you know,
on
MLB
that.
doesn't carry pitch runners like that anymore. Rosters, but
This year I noticed in the range ratings, I noticed in the ratings, Dairon Blanco.
yes.
He is one of those.
Low plate appearance guy, 24 stolen bases or whatever, has to get his leads to get the attempts. So anyway, thank you guys for talking.
Thanks, Mike.
I appreciate it.